The NBA is a league of highlight reel dunks, clutch buzzer beaters, and jaw-dropping athleticism.
We are being asked to slowly and calmly evacuate the building.
He's struggling with his balance right now. He's shaking up big time.
But sometimes the game takes a dark turn. Injuries, chaos, and near tragedies have left fans, players, and announcers in sheer horror. These are the 20 most terrifying moments in NBA history. 20. A sudden evacuation mid-game. Imagine being at an NBA game, enjoying the action, when suddenly an announcement echoes through the arena.
And Biyombo just sort of collapses and hits the floor in immediate concern.
Panic set in as fans rushed for the exits. No one knew what was happening, but the eerie tension in the air was unforgettable. 19. Corey Brewer's nightmare fall. Corey Brewer soared in for what should have been a routine dunk. Instead, he lost control in mid-air and came crashing down in a way that made everyone in the arena gasp. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, that was a hard fall right there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
That was a hard fall right there.
For a moment, it seemed like we had just witnessed something far worse than a missed dunk. 18. An earthquake shakes the arena. During an NBA Summer League game, the entire stadium started to shake. Fans and players alike felt the tremors, and the scoreboard above the court swayed ominously.
And we can feel tremors here in the building. The score clock is shifting ever so slightly.
So people are heading to the exits as we speak.
As the ground beneath them rumbled, thousands of people rushed to the exits. 17. Marcus Daniels goes face first into darkness. During a regular season game, Marcus Daniels collapsed face first onto the hardwood. His body went limp. No movement, no response.
A foul on Arenas. Went into Arenas when he snapped his neck a little bit.
It was a terrifying scene as trainers sprinted onto the floor, desperately trying to revive him. The crowd sat in stunned silence. 16. Rodney Stuckey stops breathing. 1 second, Rodney Stuckey was running up and down the court. The next, he collapsed on the bench, completely unresponsive.
And right there, obviously in some kind of real pain and discomfort. They put him out on his back for a bit and continue to work on him right now.
Thank you for your patience, the PA announcer said as fans sat in eerie silence. After several tense moments, Stuckey was stabilized, but that chilling sight left an unforgettable scar on everyone watching. 15. Nerlens Noel's skull-smashing fall. Nerlens Noel went up for a routine block, but as he made contact in midair, his body twisted awkwardly, sending him crashing headfirst onto the floor.
He has been all of that this year. Went up to block the shot of Wiggins. And you see that as the head got cocked back thanks to the forearm, and then he hit his head.
Man, that was hard to see.
As he lay motionless, medical staff had no choice but to carry him off on a stretcher. 14. Dennis Rodman loses control. Rodman was never afraid of controversy, but this time, he went too far. After getting tangled up near the sideline, he lashed out and kicked a cameraman sitting courtside. The impact sent the man crashing backward as the entire arena gasped.
He kicked the cameraman. He was really upset. Really upset. Went up in the air, came down on the camera. You thought he sprained his ankle.
The NBA hit Rodman with a massive fine, but nothing could erase the disturbing image. 13. A fan collapses courtside. During a routine timeout, cameras cut to a fan sitting near the bench. Suddenly, his eyes rolled back, and he collapsed right there in his seat.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Players, coaches, and even the referees stopped what they were doing as paramedics rushed to help. Fortunately, he survived, but the horror on people's faces said it all. 12. A TV announcer passes out on live air. During a routine Hawks broadcast, the play-by-play announcer started slurring his words, then suddenly went silent.
Every night, and he feels like he's belonged, so I look for this kid to have a really good...
It was later revealed that he had lost consciousness mid-broadcast. 11. Gordon Hayward's nightmare injury. It was Gordon Hayward's first game as a Celtic. The excitement was sky high until he leaped for an alley-oop and came down in the worst way possible.
Oh my goodness. Hayward came down so hard. Okay, Hayward broke his leg. Hayward has broken his leg. Hayward has broken his leg.
The arena fell deathly silent. His foot was pointing in the wrong direction. Players, coaches, and fans were in tears.
And that is how quickly a season can change.
This is unbelievable.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, and not a whole lot of contact, really just fell awkward.
The beauty of basketball and the great thing for fans is that you're so close. Look at that.
That's great sportsmanship. I mean, fantastic. The beauty of sports. This is why sports brings people together. And you feel so unfortunate for Gordon Hayward, who is such a fabulous guy, his first game in a Boston Celtic uniform.
It was a moment that no one will ever forget. 10. The most brutal punch in NBA history. In 1977, a fight broke out between the Rockets and Lakers. As tempers flared, Ruby Tomjanovich ran in to break it up, only for Kermit Washington to unleash a full-force punch to his face. The impact shattered his skull, broke his jaw, and caused fluid to leak into his brain. Doctors said he was lucky to be alive. His career? Never the same again. 9. Lou Williams talks his way out of death. Lou Williams was sitting in his car when a man knocked on his window with a gun pointed straight at him. Instead of panicking, Lou started talking.
He U-turned. I looked down at my phone at the light, and I just heard click, click, click. Somebody knock on my window. So I'm like, look up. Bro got the gun on me. I don't know why, but I rolled the window down. That's just where my mind took me. I rolled the window down. He like, get out the car. And I said, huh? And when I said, huh, he looked at me, he said,
Lou Will? Can't even do it to you, bro.
The guy agreed. As he ran toward the restaurant, Lou sped off and called for help.
He said, man, I just got out of jail.
Only thing I got is a bus ticket, bro. I'm out here starving. And I was just thinking on my feet. I said, look, bro, it's a McDonald's right there. You meet me at the McDonald's.
I'll buy you whatever you want to eat. He said, all right, cool. So my first thought was, do I let him get in my car? I was like, hell no. So I started driving first.
Yeah.
And I watched him running across the street to the McDonald's. So while he running to the McDonald's, I call my man like, yo.
Pull back up.
Pull back up. I'm like, pull up to the McDonald's. Pull up to the McDonald's. They made the story like I sat down and ate with him. Nah, hell no. The motherfucker ordered food. I swiped my card.
Yeah.
I shook his hand. I said, God bless, bro, but this ain't the way.
Yeah.
And by that time, my man was walking in McDonald's like I got it.
8. A dream shattered in an instant. Jay Williams was destined for greatness. A college basketball phenom in 2002, he was expected to take the NBA by storm. But fate had other plans, not on the court, but on the streets. Williams made one fateful decision that would change everything. He violated his team contract by riding his Yamaha R6 motorcycle. It wasn't just a casual ride, it was a moment of showboating that ended in disaster.
I just got a new muffler on my bike. And as I was pulling away, I revved my engine because I, for some reason, wanted to show off to Kevin. Being on a billboard on I-90 apparently wasn't big enough for my ego. And on the third rev, in the middle of the rev, I heard the bike go click, click. The bike popped up on me, it flipped into gear, and I should have let go of the bike at that given moment, but it was all about control for me. I just bought this new bike, I wanted to control, and the next thing you know, I was headed towards a utility pole going 65, 70 miles per hour, and I tried to turn the bike at the last second, but I wasn't able to get out of my own way, and the pole clipped the whole left side of my body, and next thing I know, I'm laying on the grassy knoll area between the sidewalk and the curb. My chest is laying on it as if I'm laying on my stomach. The curb is pushed up against my navel, and my legs are laying on the street as if I'm laying on my side. And every time I kept rubbing my leg, I kept looking at my hands ready to see blood, and I didn't see anything. And it was at that moment, something in my soul just told me I threw it all away, and I started screaming that out. I threw it all away.
The crash left him with catastrophic injuries, a shattered pelvis, 3 torn knee ligaments, and severe nerve damage. Doctors weren't just unsure if he'd ever play basketball again. They weren't sure if he'd ever walk.
My right foot, I think about pulling up when I walk, but my left foot, I think about pulling inward. So essentially, when I walk, it's like this. So, I mean, to retrain yourself how to walk like that, and then let alone try to run for it to become secondhand nature, it took a long time.
Jay Williams went from a future NBA all-star to a man forced to rebuild his life from scratch. 7. 177,000 fans witnessed a brush with death. In 2009, a magician known as Lady Houdini attempted a daring escape that left 177,000 spectators holding their breath. Trapped in a watery torture chamber, Kristen Johnson initially remained composed until the panic set in. Six. Nate Robinson, fighting a silent battle. Nate Robinson was a human highlight reel. Standing at just 5'9", he defied gravity to become a 3-time slam dunk champion and an energy force in the league. Fans loved his high-flying dunks and fearless attitude, but behind the scenes, Nate was fighting a battle no one saw coming. In 2006, a routine checkup revealed a shocking truth.
2006, my doctor, Lisa Callahan, found my blood pressure to be pretty high, and they ran tests and did a whole bunch of stuff and seen that my kidneys were failing. And I always was healthy. When I was a kid, I always was healthy. Growing up, I never was sick. Always had good health. And there were times where I got sick and I was just throwing up and I couldn't control what was going on. And they had to put me in the hospital for a couple days. And come out feeling greater than I've ever felt before. So I just, kept dealing with the routine over the years.
For years, he managed his condition while bouncing between teams and making electrifying plays. However, after retiring, his kidneys deteriorated rapidly. Now, without a transplant, time is running out for Nate. 5. Chris Copeland and cephalosha, a night of horror. What should have been a regular night out turned into one of the most disastrous events in NBA history. Chris Copeland and his fiancée were brutally stabbed outside a nightclub after an argument with a stranger spiraled out of control. As their blood stained the pavement, cephalosha, another NBA player, faced a different nightmare.
Copeland from the Indiana Pacers, man. I knew he looked familiar. I'm like, damn, bro.
Police arrived to break up the chaos, but in the confusion, an officer kicked Thabo in the leg, leaving him with a broken fibula and severe nerve damage. The injury required immediate surgery, but the aftermath lasted much longer. Thabo was never the same player again, and the emotional scars ran deep. Seeking justice, he filed a lawsuit and won $4 million, proving his innocence in court.
One of the officers came from behind and kicked me in the leg.
And you had ligament damage?
Correct.
As well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a serious injury.
As for Chris Copeland, the stabbing marked the beginning of the end of his NBA career. He struggled to recover, and despite his best efforts, he never found his way back to the league. 4. Drazen Petrovic, the Mozart of basketball's tragic end. Drazen Petrovic wasn't just any player. He was a pioneer for European basketball in the NBA. By 1993, he was making waves with the New Jersey Nets, averaging 22 points per game and even making Michael Jordan look foolish on defense. He was on the verge of superstardom when tragedy struck.
Even Michael Jordan.
The steal by Petrovic. Double flush, and he'll drain that one from 13.
On a rainy day in June 1993, Petrovic was riding in a car with his girlfriend in Germany when disaster struck. The car skidded on the slick road and crashed into a truck. Drazen, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was killed on impact. He was set to change the way the world viewed European players, and just like that, he was gone. His loss still haunts the basketball world to this day. 3. Bison Dell, the NBA's most chilling disappearance. Winning an NBA championship with the Chicago Bulls in 1997 is a dream most players would cherish forever. But for Bison Dell, basketball wasn't enough. At the peak of his career, he walked away from the game, seeking freedom. He bought a catamaran and set sail across the South Pacific, embracing an adventurous life. But in 2002, during one of his voyages, he vanished without a trace, along with his girlfriend Serena Carlin, the boat's captain, and his brother Miles Dabward. For weeks, there was no sign of the boat or its passengers. Then, in a shocking twist, Miles reappeared in the U.S. using Bison's identity to sell his possessions. The authorities quickly caught on, and as the investigation closed in, Miles fled to Mexico, where he took his own life. Before his death, he confessed to a violent fight on the boat, revealing that Bison, Serena, and the captain never made it out alive. 2. A hometown hero betrayed. The chilling case of Lorenzen Wright. The NBA has seen its fair share of heartbreak, but few stories are as haunting as the tragic demise of Lorenzen Wright. A Memphis legend, Wright wasn't just a talented player. He was the embodiment of hustle, heart, and dedication to his community. With 13 seasons in the league, he was a beacon of inspiration for many. But in July 2010, his story took a horrifying turn when he vanished without a trace. Days of uncertainty turned into sheer horror when his body was discovered in a wooded area outside Memphis. The details were grim. Lorenzen had been shot multiple times in what appeared to be an execution-style killing. But what made it even more chilling was a 911 call he had made that fateful night.
Georgetown 911, where's your emergency? Hello? Hello? Hello?
No suspects, no arrests, just a deafening silence. But in 2017, a breakthrough came when investigators recovered the murder weapon from a nearby lake.
Did you have any part in Lorenzen's murder?
At first, I'm a wife, then I'm a mother, and then thirdly, I'm an author. The law enforcement should do what's best to find out who's the killer.
You understand, obviously, why I had to ask that.
I do, but I'm a wife, a mother, and an author. I let people do what they're good at doing, and I'm just gonna do what I'm good at doing. They need to spend time and focus and find out what happened to him. We all need to know.
The evidence led them straight to an unexpected suspect. 1. The loss of Kobe Bryant. There are legends in basketball, and then there's Kobe Bryant, a 5-time NBA champion, an 18-time All-Star, and the embodiment of the Mamba mentality. Kobe wasn't just an athlete, he was a force of nature. And yet, on January 26, 2020, the unthinkable happened. That morning, Kobe, his 13-year-old daughter Gianna, and 7 others boarded a helicopter and rode to a youth basketball tournament. It was supposed to be just another routine flight, something Kobe had done countless times before. But this time, tragedy struck. In the dense morning fog over Calabasas, California, the helicopter lost control and crashed into a hillside. There were no survivors.
Obviously trying to make sense of what has happened. Tim Duncan, who had so many great battles with your Lakers, Brian, in the playoffs. Becky Hammond, Greg Popovich. Just a tough day all around.
The loss of Kobe and Gianna wasn't just a tragedy for basketball. It was a tragedy for humanity.
And like every team has done in every game this week, they will take a 24-second violation. Each team will do so, or perhaps an 8-second on the second team. Each to Kobe Bryant's 2 retired jerseys, number 24 and number 8.
What are your thoughts on their stories? Let's honor them in the comments. Smash that like button to pay tribute. Share this to keep their legacy alive. Subscribe for more powerful Mamba stories you won't believe. Until next time, stay legendary.